So you could do the same thing with cannabis to improve breeding?
Yes, definitely. Genetic markers have vast applications in cannabis breeding, cannabis gene conservation, diversity studies, and eventually for manipulation and improvement of traits such as fiber, oil, cannabinoid profiles, all sorts of things.
Just to stray into being topical for a second, it's my opinion that the technologies that increase the likelihood of there being many seed banks should be pursued, and the ones that increase the likelihood of there being fewer and fewer seed banks should be not pursued. How do you feel about that?
We need to be able to know who's what in terms of diversity, and I couldn't agree more that the main application of say genetic fingerprinting in cannabis species would be to ensure that we don't lose valuable varieties. And an example would be the only way you can a gene bank in cannabis, because the seeds have a relatively short viability. You can only store them for X number of years before you have to plant them in the ground, grow the plant to seed again to get more seed in order to maintain viable seed in these seed banks. Now, if you have 1,000 different bags of seed, and because of budget limitations you can only propagate 500 of them, or maybe even only 100 of them, then which 100 out of those 900 are you going to propagate? Well, using genetic markers you can determine the degrees of genetic relatedness in all your different seeds, and if you have many samples that are genetically very similar to one another, you might want to take only a few of those and concentrate on other bags that have much more genetically diverse samples. So in a way, this technology, and it's applied to everything from birds to trees to mosses, the idea of it is to be able to find the genetic differences and similarities between things that otherwise look identical to you, such as seeds.
I'm all in favor of anything that'll help breeders breed. I'm just kind of, my worst case scenario engine creates this feeling that, you know, one day this technology could be used just for intellectual property rights and so one person can own all the strains of cannabis. Is there a legitimate concern there?
I don't know enough about how people own things that have been public. It's like, what's the example of the basmati rice or whatever from India or somewhere? Some American company got some of it, did a DNA fingerprint, and then turned around and tried to patent it. Well, you can't stop what individual assholes want to do. I mean, don't buy the... I think legally they were, in terms of patent structure in the American or North American patent system, but I think there was such a hue and cry from the rest of the world that I don't know where it went. But no, your point is well taken, that if there's an opportunity for someone to make some money by saying they own something, then they'll try to do it. It's up to us to let them get away with it.
Right. Hi, I'm John Gordon, president of the Drug War Vigil Memorial Group. Our group is having a video contest for prizes of up to $1,500.
Contestants are required to create a social justice video of 60 minutes or less regarding the cultural and social impact of the drug war.
Entries must be submitted by April 15th, 2002. Send your entries to Pot TV, care of BCMP Bookstore, 307 West Hastings, Vancouver, BC, V6B 1H6, Canada, or you can call us at 604-875-9037 or email us at dwvinfo@mybc.com.
So now this is the bird poop.
This is the bird poop.
Now
This is the organic.
A little bit out and lay it down flat so that the beta particles have lots of chance to find things. And then we'll give it a little assay. Hopefully this won't pop up. And in theory it should all be background. We should not be seeing radiation in these things. And to my comfort,
What does
in my humble view, the meter reads what it did when we planted up in the air, which is background. In other words, there is probably very little detectable beta particles being emitted from this.
Can I get a shot of that?
So you see it's no different from me putting it on the bench.
Okay. Let me just get a clear shot for our viewers at home.
Okay, so there's...
There, it's on.
It's on.
And there's the meter. Now take it off.
And then it's off.
And that's about background.
It's about, you know, these things are kind of qualitative. You might be seeing a particle or two, but this instrument isn't sensitive enough to give you a really definitive difference between clicking there. To me, that's background.
Okay.
What if you put it over the whole bucket?
Now, I put it over the whole
entire
bucket,
thing.
which is what I didn't want to do, but anyway, it hasn't fallen out yet. Again,
just background levels of radiation.
as detected using a beta particle detector, which does not detect everything, but it gives us a measure of betas. So anyway, this sample is relatively background.
Okay.
Okay?
Relative background.
I mean, as much as this thing can detect.
Yeah.
Now, do we have a comparison that we want to make?
We have three others here. We have
one.
some.
Do we have one that
chemical
might be a
fertilizers.
little, what, good old Miracle Grow?
That is the highest contrast one.
Okay.
That
Do you
one
wanna-
has 52.
Okay. So this one has the highest phosphate content?
Highest phosphate.
So it should have, if there's any radioactive phosphate,
If our
which
theories
is...
are correct, then this one should give off the most radiation.
So this hasn't been opened?
This has not been opened. I just bought it from the store, the hardware store.
Good old hardware store. We all put it on our roses.
Yeah, and this apparently is high in phosphate. I think if you can get a shot of those numbers on the side of the box there.
1052.
Ultra bloom. Yeah, ultra bloom. 105210, and I guess the 52 would be the phosphate or phosphorus.
Yeah, no,
measurement.
that's the phosphate. Okay, let's see
Okay.
what this thing does.
What happens now?
So we have about the same amount. I didn't exactly weigh it out, but it's visually about the same amount. So we
Eyeballed.
should get eyeballed. And here's a touch more.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Make
Now,
sure it's not my gloves.
It's gone almost to 2. That was 1.5.
So the numbers on here, again, you'd have to hold it long enough for an hour and collect data to be statistically correct. But if I put that right down there on it, we're going from our background previously was 50 to 60 CPM, and it's bouncing between, why did it go up to 1 or 2? Sometimes you see these machines, they're electrostatically sensitive,
Right.
so that's why you tend to leave it over for a while.
Hey, can we stick it over the top of the entire package and see if it goes
Yeah,
crazy?
no, let's just see what it's doing here, though, because seems to be a few more clicks. You can hear it too, can't you?
Yeah, definitely.
There seems to be a few more clicks. It's bouncing up and down. Now, it could be my hand. Is that having an effect? Shouldn't be. I should be clean. I'd say we're at about 110 or 120. So there's about a 2-fold rise over background, but I mean, compared to what we use in the lab here on a daily basis, that's, excuse the language, but piss all.
Yeah.
However, if grown, I mean, if concentrated in plants, who knows?
Well, the thing with tobacco
Is they say they use the same fertilizer high in phosphates on the ground year after year, and it's cumulative. That means that the tobacco of yesterday is less radioactive than today and tomorrow because the ground's more and more radioactive every year.
So it should build up, and you should be able to detect it using a similar test like this.
So the next thing we should do is
Come back here one day with the soil from a tobacco field.
But anyway, so this is the background, and as you can see, 12, 28, 32, essentially below 60, which is our level. Now we put it back to our sample, and this is our sample of Miracle Grow, and we've jumped up to 90, 100. Can you read that?
yeah.
90, 80.
What
But
was the
again,
numbers on just nothing?
background was background again. Here's background.
Okay.
50, 39. Again, it bounces all over the place because this thing is detecting individual beta particles, and
Right.
It's very stochastic. They come and they go.
Okay.
And
Now, how about the bird poop?
now bird poop. Where are we?